This is Sean O'Malley, and you're watching Full-Time MMA. Don't be a bagel-biting, bagel bitch boy, bagel bitch back.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
I know one thing, full-time family. Somebody's getting their ass whooped at UFC 229. I don't know if it's Tony Ferguson. I don't know if it's Kevin Lee. I don't know if these guys aren't even going to be fighting each other. I just know somebody's getting their ass whooped at UFC 229. Now, we can start trying to put the pieces together, although the fight's not announced, but let's put the pieces together because it looks like maybe we could be looking at a potential interim title rematch between Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson. Now, with that being said, this hasn't been reported aside from over here on this channel and maybe one Chael Sonnen video. I haven't really heard anybody even talk about this fight. But I mean, goddamn, both of these guys are in camp. Check out what Kevin Lee had to say about a week ago. He said, "My camp is already starting without an opponent. Somebody getting their ass beat October 6th, and I'm not about to go back and forth with you about it." They shook. That got me hyped for a Motown Phenom return. Not gonna lie, be a great card for him at Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, UFC 229. If one of those guys missed weight or got injured, well, we'll say got injured, because if one of those guys missed weight, I don't think we're watching that fight for the title. We're watching that fight for McGregor versus Khabib. So if one of those guys missed weight, that whole replacement thing's not going to work in that fight. But if one of them got injured, if one of them was like hospitalized from a weight cut or something, you know, anything like that, then it would be great to have another lightweight on the card in order to save that fight. Now, with that being said, that would be great for Kevin Lee, you know, and all that would be great and all, but it'd be even better for Tony Ferguson, who was the interim champion that was stripped whenever Khabib fought Ally Quintin, and Conor McGregor was stripped at the same damn time as Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson also recently said he was medically cleared to fight. He also said fight news coming soon, and most recently he said, "I'm not weird, I'm a limited edition, my collaboration with Topps. Now all we need is some bubble gum to go with this ass whooping I'm about to dish at hashtag UFC 229, waiting on opponent. Probably calling Pterodactyl after finding out who he's fighting next. I owe him one." Now, I don't know who he's calling Pterodactyl. He could be calling Khabib or Conor McGregor Pterodactyl. That's what I'm assuming he's talking about, calling one of them out after the fight. Because really, I think he might owe both of them. Maybe he's talking about Khabib, though, you know, because they've been scheduled to fight 4 times now. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, he said he's waiting on an opponent at UFC 229. Now, with that being said, you got Kevin Lee starting the camp for UFC 229, a top 10 ranked lightweight. I believe even top 6 if I'm not mistaken. You've also got Tony Ferguson training to fight at UFC 229. These guys are both in the top 6. That would, and we went through the rankings on one of our previous live streams that happen every single day. They've been happening at 2 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you're there, be there, or be square. But yeah, so we went through the top 10, top 15 of the UFC rankings, and there's only 3 guys available for this card: Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee, Anthony Pettis. Now, I'm sure both of these guys would love to fight Anthony Pettis, but he's the lowest ranked out of the 3. And he's the only one that has not said that he's in a training camp for UFC 229. So with that being said, this would be a rematch, and what a hell of a time for the rematch, because in the first fight, Kevin Lee had staph infection, and he still had Tony Ferguson mounted in a bad position. Tony Ferguson was able to survive like he does, which is how he, you know, won some of his fights on his 11-fight winning streak, which is how he was able to become the interim champion. He withstood the storm from Kevin Lee, got out of the position, and ultimately submitted Kevin Lee. Now, with that being said, Tony Ferguson has since then went through a gruesome injury. Kevin Lee has since then cleared up his staph infection, and so with that being said, this rematch could go an entirely different way. You got a healthy Kevin Lee, and we don't know about Tony Ferguson's leg health in this fight. It was a pretty quick recovery. So, I mean, if Kevin Lee was an asshole, he'd probably come in here throwing straight kicks at that leg. I mean, we did see Amanda Nunes versus Raquel Pennington. We knew about her leg injury going into that fight. We seen some leg kicks early in that fight. So this fight could go a completely different way. Kevin Lee's not going to have staph infection coming into this fight. So if it happens, holy smokes, UFC 229 gets that much better. But like I said, this is all just speculation over here from your boy Mystic Full-Time. We'll see if it comes to fruition or if maybe Anthony Pettis steps in. But if that's the case, then one of these guys don't fight unless they're in that, third man spot. Maybe you get Kevin Lee versus Anthony Pettis, and Tony Ferguson is that third man, kind of like Kamaru Usman coming up at UFC 228. So I'll keep you guys updated, but both of these guys, Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee, are in training camp for UFC 229. Somebody's getting their ass whooped. Let the Full-Time family know what you think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the Full-Time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Make sure you also hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video, or some of the time that I upload a new video, because YouTube's notification bell is a player hater. But this is one of the hardest working independent MMA channels on YouTube. We provide daily updates, full fight card breakdowns and predictions. We make MMA fighter freestyles, and we've already interviewed pro fighters Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Felony Charles Bennett, and Bruce Lushmedio in just a little over a year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on YouTube. So with that being said, if you're interested in more videos like this, check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo over at patreon.com. One of the things you can see while you're over there are some of the goals of the channel, and also more free videos like this, betting advice, and more. We just launched the Full-Time MMA store over on teespring.com, and we've got some limited edition gear in order to celebrate that. We've got some Day One Foop the Other Side shirts that are only available for a limited time. Also, you got leggings, phone cases, Don't Be a Bagel Biter, coffee mugs, and more. With that being said, you can check the links out in the description if you want to check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo or the Full-Time MMA store on Teespring. I apologize about the long outro, but a closed mouth don't get fed, so respect. Let the Full-Time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOG.